Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I will be introducing some basic concepts of calculus, and one of the most fundamental concepts that I'll be introducing today is called the derivative. So a very simple definition for a derivative is a slope. So let's look at the graph of a line, and let's say we had an equation in the form y equals mx plus b. Now in this equation, the slope is represented by our variable m. So if someone was to ask you for the slope of a line in the form y equals mx plus b, you would say the slope is m. And similarly, the derivative of this line is also m, because that is the definition of a derivative. So let's take a quick look at calculating some derivatives of equations. So let's say the equation of a graph was y equals x, or y equals 1x. In this case, the m value, or the slope, is 1, so our derivative would also be 1. Looking at another example, if instead of 1x we had 2x, our m value is then 2, so our derivative is 2. And this pattern continues for 3x equals a derivative of 3, and so on. And basically any number in front of the x, that will be the derivative, and it does not have to be a whole number. It could be a fraction like 3 over 2, a decimal, any kind of number. So now let's take a quick look at how this b number impacts our derivative. So right now I have y equals 2x as my equation, and that derivative is just 2 because the value of the slope, or our m value, is 2. But let's add a constant, or a y-intercept, to this equation, and let's say our constant was 1. What is the derivative now? Well, if we look at our slope number, our slope of this graph is still 2, which means the derivative will stay 2 as well. And whatever number we put for our b value, our slope will stay the same because our m value is not affected. So when we're taking the derivative, we only need to focus on the slope, and any constant terms can be ignored. So let's do an example using a constant term. Let's say our line was y equals 7. Okay, now you'll notice that there is no x term in this one. There's only a b value, so this is basically the same thing as y equals 0x plus 7. So what would the derivative of this graph be? Well, to find a derivative, we only look at the m number, or the slope. The m number here is 0 because we're adding 0x's to 7, which means our derivative is 0. And regardless of what constant term we had after the 0x, our derivative would still be 0. I'd like to end this video by giving a couple general equations regarding derivatives, just to summarize everything we've talked about in this video. So first, if we have a line in standard form, in the form y equals mx plus b, the derivative, or the slope of that line, would be the variable m. Whatever number is representing the slope, that number would also be the derivative. And secondly, if we have y equals c, where c is a constant, or in other words, we just have a y-intercept with no x variable and no slope given, we know the slope has to be 0 because that's representing 0x. So the derivative of a constant is always 0.